New Suffolk, a sleepy little hamlet located in the town of Southold on the North Fork of Long Island in New York. Now known for its recreational fishing and sailing, was once a port for the U.S. Navy's first submarine base called the Holland Torpedo and Boat Company from 1899 through 1905, and then moved to Connecticut. New Suffolk was also a harbor for a thriving scallop and oyster industry. Surrounding the village were many productive farms, as were most of the local towns on the North Fork. Antonia Booth, the town of Southold's historian, explains the early history of New Suffolk.
Rory, as you know, Southold was founded in 1640, and where we are now, we're in the hamlet of Southold, and this was the site of the original development. We're very near Town Hall, and we're very near the first church and the first cemetery in Southold. But as the population increased, there was more land. So in 1661, 21 years later, the pressure of the population on the land was such that the town created 3 divisions of land. One was in Aquabog, one was in Oyster Ponds, Orient, and one was in Corchog, which is our Cutchogue. And Corchog also was the name of the Indian tribe that lived here. And New Suffolk, what became New Suffolk, was created out of that 1661 division. John Booth, who came from the West Indies to Shelter Island and was in Southold in 1652, he and his sons got most of what became New Suffolk, about 180 acres, was then called Booth's Neck, and it later became Robins Island Neck. Now, even before New Suffolk was created, there was a very busy seaport area down by Corchog Harbor and Peconic Bay, and the famous ship that went down Christmas Eve, the Rosette, was built there. And I like to think of the commercial excitement and the fact the shipbuilding industry was a thrilling industry to me. Anyway, I think about 1836, 80 acres of that 180 acres was purchased by Reverend Ezra Youngs and 3 of the Tuttle brothers. And Ira Tuttle, one of the brothers, the other people sold him their land, so he was the real developer of New Suffolk. And it was laid out, as you know, on a grid plan, and each street, as it is today, looks to the water. It's one of the most beautiful settlements on Long Island, probably one of the most beautiful places anywhere. It wasn't long after the grid was laid out and the houses began to be built. I think 4 years later, they had the first school. Ira Tuttle founded a general store, and the first school was in 2 rooms over that store. And more children were born, more children needed education. The second school was a little bigger, and it was on a creek, which we know as Schoolhouse Creek. And that took its name from the second schoolhouse. Then that schoolhouse was destroyed by fire. And then they moved to a Methodist meeting house. The third school was in the Methodist meeting house. And our school, the one that we're so concerned with today and that's so well known, I believe they purchased the land 100 years ago, 1907. And there were 2 classrooms, red shingle building, and work was begun. And there's separate entrances for boys and girls. And, you know, it was a typical schoolhouse, a little better looking, I think, than most of the schoolhouses. A 3rd classroom was added, and they went as far eventually as the 7th and 8th grades from kindergarten. And then New York State mandated that they drop the 7th and 8th grade. So then it became what it is now, a K-6 school, and with its own school district.
Oh, New Suffolk, it was, I don't know, it was just a lot of kids. We all got along. We had the swimming, we had the fishing. We didn't have much, at least in the 30s, things were tight. But everybody was happy, you know.
Annetta, Goodale, Fogarty, Nordlinger graduated New Suffolk School in 1934 and talks about what it was like when she went to school in the 20s and 30s.
It was a traumatic experience for me because I had just turned 5, and it wasn't kindergarten. I went directly into 1st grade. And my brothers called me Sis. Everybody in the house, everybody in New Suffolk called me Sis. And the teacher said Annetta. And I was nervous, and I guess Mama had told me my name was Annetta, but I didn't remember it. And she said Annetta, and then she got a little perturbed, and she looked at me and she said, I mean you. And I says, my name is Sis. She says, your name is Annetta. Well, I went home afterwards and said to my mother, Ma, why didn't you tell me my name was Annetta? She says, I did. Well, I found it out today, so I never forgot. My name is Annetta. We had learning. We learned. We had recess. You know, you could go out for recess, and then each one of us got a certain time designated to ring the bell. That was a big thing. We rang the bell, you know, to start school.
The school bell has been rounding up New Suffolk kids for 100 years, signaling the start of school and the end of lunch, and each child has his or her turn to ring the bell.
I mean, it was reading, writing, and arithmetic. Actually, I had been inclined to use a left hand, but it was no left hand, you know. And it was a little hard to know that this was the hand I did the Palmer method on, and this was the hand I wrote with. It was a nice school, you know. Everybody knew everybody, and we had our ups and downs.
Other questions or comments?
I'll kill all the pink.
Oh, that's a good idea, promise.
These are the children currently of New Suffolk School, minus Richard. He was sick on this day. They all seem very excited about celebrating the school's 100th birthday.
I like it a lot. There's really nice teachers, and I think we're very lucky to be in a 100-year-old school. So I like New Suffolk School a lot.
But what do you think is unique about New Suffolk School? Yes.
It doesn't have much kids.
Okay. What's that like? You get to know everybody?
Yeah. And you can find your way around really quickly since.
Holly Schmidt, New Suffolk School's primary teacher, and Nicole Valentine, the head teacher of New Suffolk School, talks about how they started at the school and the 100th year anniversary.
I started here as a leave replacement a little over 6 years ago, and have been here ever since. I can't really imagine teaching in any other school because this is such a unique setting. Just being able to work so closely with the children and to get to know them not only as a teacher but almost as part of my family has been extremely rewarding.
I agree. I've been here, this is actually my 3rd year here, and I started also as a leave replacement, and it's become a permanent position, so I'm extremely happy to be here. I feel the same way, that you really get to know your students well, and I feel like we're very fortunate in that, because in a larger school, you don't really know every single student, so well individually. So.
And being that Holly went to school here as well, that makes it even more special. I thought this year would never come. When I first started here, it was always in the back of my mind, and the students would say to me, "How old is the school?" And I'd say, "Oh, it's 95." And the number 100 was always in the back of my mind, yet it seemed so far away. And now here it is. So I'm extremely excited that I'm going to get to be a part of it and to be a part of the history, really. And my hopes are that 100 years from now, someone else will be saying the same thing, that now they're celebrating the 200th anniversary and they thought they'd never see that.
I'm very excited, and I'm very lucky to be able to come back here, after so many years and experience the 100th year as well. I would have never in my dreams thought that I'd be teaching here, and then teaching here during the 100th, it's 100th year, so.
My name is Robert L. Fager, and I'm the superintendent of schools here in New Suffolk. I've been superintendent for 2 years, and it's been a wonderful 2 years. It's been a wonderful experience. I kind of tell people that it's the cherry on the sundae of my educational career. I've lived on the East End for more than 25 years, and I've always known about New Suffolk and passed it and loved the little red schoolhouse. But I never knew what it was like, and I had reservations about what kind of an education can be provided in a school this small. And now, having been the superintendent for 2 years, I recognize and I realize that our students are provided with a sensational education. It brings together all of the best aspects of homeschooling with none of the drawbacks. Our staff members know everybody. I know everybody. You know everybody within a week, because there are 8 students and 2 teachers and special teachers. And that really is the core of our school, our staff. I've not had, having been a principal and a superintendent in other places, I've not had 2 young people work for me who were more enthusiastic and more interested in the daily outcomes that happen in their classroom. And the evening outcomes, and the weekend outcomes, and the summer outcomes. It's really like a family.
When you first came to New Suffolk and you kind of saw the community, what did you think first off?
Oh, I loved it. I wanted to move here, as a matter of fact, but there was no house available when we were looking. So it was just a joy to be able to work down here, even though I couldn't live down here at the time. So it's been a lot of fun.
What was your impressions of the school? And how
Quite unique. I came from a very big town in Massapequa, and my children went to a very large school and many elementary schools in the district. And to come here and to find this little hamlet, never knew it existed, never knew that these schools even still existed in New York State, in Long Island. So it was quite unique,
Like a typical day at New Suffolk School. Yeah.
Well, on Friday, if you look over there, that'd be our. Well, it wouldn't be so normal since the event would be there, but it would usually be morning routine. That'd be the pledge and a song we would sing, like a patriot song, and then we would have science and social studies going in the other room. Then we would have drama. Since we don't have another teacher to do drama, we just Miss Straub uses where we go to have lunch. She just rearranges the tables and sets up chairs. And then we would have lunch and recess. Then maybe reading or centers or something, whatever the teachers would throw up there.
Same type of routine for you? You follow that schedule? Okay.
I think that we try to get the children involved in the community and the community involved in the school by doing things like the local beach cleanup and hosting pancake breakfasts. Each September we have a daffodil planting, and we're always inviting the community to participate in that, and we try to foster a love for the community within the children. We try to show them that the community is very important and that they should look after it and they should involve people here in the school. And that's a big part of what we're doing this year with the centennial, and the garden that we're creating out front is not just for the children of the school, it's for everyone in the community, and we invite them to come and enjoy it while we enjoy it as well. And everyone is being invited to that celebration. I think the more we work here, the more we try to involve the community. It's a difficult task, but
We want to try to make the school like the focal point of our community because it is really the biggest thing in our community right now. So we want the community involved. We want support from the community, and we think involving them with the things we do here will give us that support.
And being that it's so small, we also want the children to understand how unique a place this is, not just the school, but the community in general, how they can know everyone in their community, and not everyone has a beach right down the road that they can walk to. Not everyone has a 2-room schoolhouse.
I found out that the school bell wasn't working, and I come to find out that the casting that the bell was suspended on had broken. And one of the people that has moved in, he took it on himself to get the yoke that it was broken. He got it repaired, but it had been sitting repaired but needed to be installed. So I got all the parts together and reassembled the thing and put it back up in the belfry. Got it working again. And it's like I told the people at the school, as long as I'm able, anything like that needs fixing or whatever, it'll be taken care of. It's just I can remember when I first went to the school and being allowed to ring the bell myself, how exciting that was. So, and it's good now to hear it in the morning.
Remember Annetta? This is Annetta's family. 3 generations went to New Suffolk School, and we all met at Annetta's granddaughter's home, Angela Cole, and talked about what it was like going to this little red schoolhouse.
Everybody's unique. Like, you always get, that's what makes you special, is that you went to New Suffolk.
It's always an icebreaker.
Yeah.
That's how many kids were in my elementary school. 20 in the whole school.
Did you see that little schoolhouse down there? Yeah, I went there. You went there?
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
What was it like,
It's true.
Annetta,
What?
who are these people by you?
Oh, my. Well, this is my daughter Marietta, my son James, my daughter Jana, my grandson Aiden, my grandson Mikey, my granddaughter Diana. My granddaughter next to her is
Her favorite.
yeah. Little toot, Angela. And next to her is my grandson Dan. Did I cover them all?
Yes.
You did.
Okay.
And what is so special about this family? That not only that you're all so darn good looking, what's the other thing that we're bringing you guys together for here?
Because we all went to New Suffolk School.
You get A100 happy days, huh?
That's it.
Well, when we went to New Suffolk, I was only there the 1 year. We came from the Queens Public School, where there were 2 classrooms of 30-something kids, and they ended up going to a school with maybe 30 kids in the entire school. It was a little different, but it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
It was good because we knew everybody that was in school. It's not like we moved to a totally new place. We always came out for summers, so we knew all our classmates. There wasn't, it wasn't a terrifying experience.
We were no longer the summer kids though either.
Right.
And Jim, how about you?
Well, it was a lot of unique bunch of kids that went to the school. Like
Characters.
You had George Konerski,
Georgie Mallory.
George Mallory, and where nowhere else. And it was hard once left there to go to Southhold School because then it was we had to change classes and. The kids there, they didn't know who you were. Who is you, Suffolk? They used to beat you up because you went there, or if you came from Peconic.
Right. Let's go to the back of the room, and we'll go to this generation here. How about you guys? What was it like going to New Suffolk when you guys went?
It was the best. It really was.
It was really good.
Yeah.
I mean, I consider it to be like almost like you had a private tutor, the whole time.
Yeah, because we were smaller. I mean, Mikey and I went in the same class together, and we were 6 people in our graduating class, and that was big. Like that was one of the biggest ones. But like there was the person behind us was one in 5th grade.
Wow.
So you have 2 rooms, and so you have maybe 10 people in the room. So you have your teacher that can dedicate good time to each grade and person. And it was. I think back about how many we had quite a few valedictorians and salutatorians come out of that school also.
That's true.
You had I know Jimmy and Kara, and then you had the Christensens, both of them.
Right.
They were skipping
Was
grades
it
left and
Jennifer
right.
Goodale?
Jenny Goodale, right?
So there's a nice handful of top of the class people at Southwold High School also.
True, probably a very high percentage, right? For given the size of New Suffolk, a geographic area probably turned out more valedictorians than any place else.
And like top of the class people, if you think about it too.
And honor rolls.
We'll talk about them.
Yeah.
Honor rolls, man.
Yeah, there's probably a good majority of the
Atlanta.
Well,
Oh, you guys still?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to, for my kids to go there, to be able to live in New Suffolk and,
That's my plan.
Yeah, we better get cracking.
Oh, don't you worry about it.
We'll swap houses. You can come live in my house.
That was our plan, remember?
Okay.
So we want more generations of this family going to New Suffolk School. That's our hope.
and we owe it all to Grandma.
That's right.
Because she kept us in New Suffolk.
That's right.
Heidi Jordan is one of the valedictorians Annetta's family was speaking of. Heidi's maiden name is Christensen, and I spoke with her about her experience at New Suffolk School. Where are you now?
I live and work around Sag Harbor. I am on my way to becoming a licensed architect. And, I traveled a bit and lived in a few different places, but basically really excited to be settled back here. First, in terms of people, I'd credit my parents, because I think they really, have a passion for figuring things out and learning and really engaging us kids. And New Suffolk really fed that, and I think I got accustomed to trying to take things out of the school, really seek out an education too from being there. So I would definitely say that was a big part, sort of built on what my parents had started with me. I really have always liked to learn things, and I remember when writing a report felt like a privilege to be able to do, so I actually asked to do one. But, you could help. It was a little house on the prairie. You got to help grade the papers, sometimes. And so there were so many ways to learn more than just sitting and doing your classwork. And then also, you'd have one ear open while the teacher was teaching the kids ahead of you, so you could sort of get a glimpse of where you were going or perhaps even pick up some of that stuff. So I really felt like you certainly couldn't be bored there if you were, focused on learning. There was always a way to grow.
It's really just amazing to me what a well-rounded education we can provide for a small group of children. The kids are they're like big brother and big sister to each other. I've seen classes where somebody will be stumped and Holly or Nicole will say, "Would you like to ask a friend?" And they have no qualms about asking a friend to help them. And generally speaking, most of the time it's the older kids who help out, and they learn a real mentoring skill at a very early age, because they now are the seniors on the top of the pile, and they don't abuse it. They use it to help the younger kids. And
I think at first when I went to Southold, it's very hard to be dumped into a group of kids that know each other really well, and for a little while I felt like I'd been kept from something, kept from knowing what everybody else knows, and I had some catching up to do. But in reality, I can also see that I was really protected there, protected from things I wasn't ready to handle at that age, things trouble that you can get into, and I think the more time goes by, the more I really value my whole upbringing, including getting to live in a place like that. That's so beautiful, and to have things close to you. I mean, people commute so much these days to get to school and spend so much time on the bus. I mean, to be able to just walk right to school and come home for lunch, that quality of life is just amazing. So I really hope that New Suffolk continues for another 100 years. I hope other kids get to have the experience that I got to have.